The starship Odyssey glided silently through the endless black of space, its hull gleaming faintly under the distant light of a blue star. Inside, the hum of machinery and the occasional voice of the crew were the only sounds breaking the quiet. Commander Aiden Hart stood on the observation deck, staring at the approaching planet on the screen before him. This was Lythera, a world long rumored to be advanced beyond human imagination. And for the first time, humanity would set foot on its surface. Lythera was not just any planet. Its cities floated above the ground, supported by elegant energy structures that shimmered like glass in the sunlight. Rivers ran with water so clear that the rocks beneath looked like they were floating. The humans had prepared for months, studying the planet's culture, history, and language. But no matter how much they studied, Aiden knew that nothing could fully prepare them for actual contact. "Commander Hart, we are entering the planet's atmosphere," said Lieutenant Mira Solis, her voice calm but edged with excitement. The ship's engines adjusted, and the view of Lythera grew larger on the observation deck. The floating city of Aurealis came into view, its spires stretching toward the sky, and its streets bustling with movement. Even from space, the energy of the planet seemed alive. "Steady," Aiden replied, his hands gripping the railing. He felt a mix of nervousness and anticipation. "Let's make sure our first impression counts." Friend report. The Odyssey touched down on a sleek landing platform that seemed to hover slightly above the ground. The humans stepped out, greeted by a soft breeze carrying a subtle, unfamiliar scent, floral yet crisp. Awaiting them was a delegation of Lytherans, humanoid in form but taller and more elegant than humans. Their skin was pale, almost iridescent, and faint bioluminescent patterns shifted across their bodies as they moved. These patterns changed with emotion, glowing brighter with excitement or dimming with caution. At the head of the delegation stood Queen Saralyn. She was regal, radiant, and unlike anyone Aiden had ever seen. Her eyes were deep and piercing, and a faint glow traced the lines of her face. Aiden felt both awe and a strange sense of calm in her presence. "Welcome to Lythera, travelers from Earth," Queen Saralyn said, her voice melodic and smooth. The bioluminescence on her skin pulsed softly in greeting. "We have observed your journey and your intentions. You are the first of your kind to visit our world formally. Please, follow me." The humans bowed slightly, following her into the heart of Aurealis. The city was even more magnificent, up close. Streets were lined with glowing flora, and elegant vehicles floated above the ground, moving silently. Lytherans passed by gracefully, acknowledging the humans with curious, friendly gestures. Every corner seemed to hum with life and energy, yet there was a harmony, a sense of balance that humans had rarely achieved in their own cities. Aiden and his team were led to the Royal Hall, an enormous space with ceilings that curved like the inside of a shell. Crystals embedded in the walls refracted light in a soft spectrum, bathing the room in colors that shifted gently with the hour. Queen Saralyn invited them to sit, and the humans found themselves facing a gathering of Lytheran nobles, each radiating the soft glow of bioluminescence that expressed their feelings. Aiden's translator picked up the formal greetings, and he tried to respond in the best Lytheran he had learned. "We are honored to be on your world. Your city, it is breathtaking," he said. The nobles nodded politely, their glowing patterns brightening with curiosity. Queen Saralyn's gaze, however, lingered on Aiden. She tilted her head slightly, studying him as if assessing his intentions, his understanding, and his heart. "I have studied your kind," she said finally, her voice calm but with a quiet authority that demanded attention. "And yet, I must caution you. Some words, some gestures, may carry meanings that you are unaware of. You must observe carefully and act with respect." Aiden nodded. "We will do our best, Your Majesty." Queen Saralyn smiled. It was a gentle, knowing smile, yet there was a weight behind it, a depth that suggested she had already seen much of human nature. "Very well. Let us begin with a simple conversation." The humans engaged in careful discussion, asking about Lythera's history, its culture, and its customs. Aiden tried to demonstrate human curiosity and respect. Your cities seem to defy gravity and convention, he said. How did your people achieve this balance between technology and nature? Queen Saralyn's smile widened slightly. Balance is essential to us. Every action has a consequence. Every word, every gesture, is part of a larger harmony. Humans often seek advancement, without understanding the weight of their actions. You must learn to observe before you act. Encouraged by her engagement, Aiden attempted to express admiration in a way that he thought would resonate. He spoke words he had read in the Lytheran language, a phrase intended to show respect and honor. But as he spoke, he saw a subtle shift in the court. The glow of the noble's bioluminescence changed. Some dimmed, some pulsed quickly. Queen Saralyn's eyes flickered, and her lips curved into a small, controlled smile. Human, she said softly. Those words, they signify marriage on my planet. Aiden froze, the words sinking into him. He had not intended this meaning at all. A wave of embarrassment and panic rose within him. He quickly tried to clarify, waving his hands and speaking, but the translation device could not fully capture the nuance of his apology. The court remained silent for a moment, the noble's glowing patterns shifting in quiet amusement. Then Queen Saralyn laughed softly. A sound that was musical and kind. Do not fear, human. You have not caused offense, only curiosity. We are patient with those who wish to learn. Relief washed over Aiden, but his cheeks burned. He realized how easy it was to misunderstand customs. Even with preparation, every word, every gesture, could carry meaning far beyond what humans were accustomed to. The queen leaned closer, her voice almost conspiratorial. On Lythera, words are sacred. They carry weight. What you said, it was a gesture of profound commitment. Remember this. Observe carefully, learn, and act with humility. Aiden nodded, swallowing his embarrassment. I understand, Your Majesty. I will be more careful. She gave a small, approving nod. Good. You will find that humanity has potential beyond what we imagined. It is not only your technology that intrigues us, but your willingness to learn, adapt, and persevere. That is a rare quality. The humans were then shown to their quarters within the city, which were elegant yet simple, designed to make them feel comfortable without overwhelming them. As Aiden unpacked, he reflected on the day's events. The beauty of Lythera was one thing, but the subtle power of its culture, the way every gesture and word had meaning, was another. Humans were used to expressing themselves with words that could be vague or playful. Here, even a misstep could carry serious significance. Yet, Aiden felt something stirring within him. Despite his initial mistakes, he sensed that this planet could teach humanity not just about advanced technology, but about wisdom, patience, and understanding. The challenge would be great, but the reward, mutual respect, knowledge, and perhaps friendship with a civilization far older than humanity, was greater still. That night, he looked out of the window at the glowing city below. The streets of Aurealis pulsed gently, alive with the movement of its people. The stars above sparkled like scattered jewels across a velvet sky. He thought of the words of Queen Saralyn and felt a mixture of awe and determination. Humans had come a long way from Earth, from their noisy, crowded cities to this world of elegance and subtle beauty. And yet, there was still so much to learn. Aiden closed his eyes and silently promised himself that he would respect Lytheran culture, understand their ways, and ensure that humanity's first impression would grow into something lasting, a bond of trust and mutual admiration. He did not yet know the adventures, misunderstandings, and challenges that awaited him on Lythera. Nor did he realize how profoundly this first encounter, a simple misused phrase, would shape his understanding of interstellar diplomacy, human potential, and the remarkable qualities that made humanity truly special. For now, he let the soft glow of Lythera's city lull him into a restless sleep, dreams filled with floating spires, bioluminescent faces, and the quiet, powerful smile of a queen who already saw what humans might one day become. And with that, The story of humanity's first steps on Lythra began not with conquest or power, but with curiosity, humility, and a willingness to understand a world far older and wiser than their own. The next morning, Aidan Hart awoke to the soft light of Lythera filtering through the large crystalline windows of his quarters. The city below was already alive, its streets glowing faintly with the movement of pedestrians and floating vehicles. Today would be the first full day for the human delegation to explore Lytheran society in depth, and Aidan felt both nervous and eager. He met with his team in the courtyard outside their quarters. Lieutenant Mira Solis and Dr. Ethan Vargas, the science officer, were equally excited. Mira checked the translation devices one last time, while Ethan took careful notes about the city's structure and energy patterns. "I still can't believe how peaceful this city feels," Mira said, looking around. "It's like the entire planet is in balance." Aidan nodded. "It's impressive. But we have to remember what the Queen said. Every word, every gesture counts here. We can't assume anything is simple." The humans were greeted once again by Lytheran aides and escorted through the city. They first visited the Hall of Learning, a place that combined education, history, and art in a single flowing space. Crystal walls displayed the achievements of Lytheran culture, from their scientific discoveries to the development of energy technology that allowed their cities to float. As the humans walked through the hall, Aidan noticed that Lytherans moved with precision and elegance. Even their conversations seemed layered with meaning. A simple nod, a tilt of the head, or a gesture of the hands could express agreement, curiosity, or caution. The humans found themselves instinctively observing, trying to interpret every motion and every glowing pattern. At one point, Aidan attempted a polite greeting he had learned from their cultural studies. "Your work here is inspiring." He meant it as a simple compliment. However, the bioluminescent patterns on the Lytheran beside him shifted quickly, glowing brightly before fading. He noticed the same subtle reaction ripple through nearby observers. Queen Saralyn appeared beside him, her presence commanding attention without any effort. "Human," she said, her tone gentle. "Your words are well-meaning, but sometimes they carry unintended significance. Observe not just what is said, but what is understood by others." Aidan nodded quickly. "Yes, Your Majesty. I will pay closer attention." The Queen allowed the humans to spend the morning exploring freely, but under the watchful eyes of Lytheran guides. They attended workshops on Lytheran diplomacy, energy technology, and art. They watched dancers whose movements were so precise that each step told a story. Humans struggled to keep up at first, but they persisted, trying to learn the subtle language of gestures, expressions, and light patterns. During a mid-morning break, Aidan and Mira observed a group of Lytheran youths engaged in a playful exercise, weaving energy streams into shapes that resembled animals and abstract designs. The humans were invited to try. Ethan cautiously extended his hands, attempting to mimic the patterns. To his surprise, a small energy shape appeared, a glowing fox-like creature hovering in the air for a few moments before dissipating. The Lytherans clapped, their bioluminescence pulsing in delight. Aidan smiled. "Not bad," he said quietly to Ethan. "You're starting to get it." However, not all interactions were smooth. During a discussion about Lytheran history, Aidan attempted to express admiration for their cultural resilience. "Your society has survived so many challenges," he said. "It's remarkable how you keep balance." A subtle ripple of amusement passed through the group. Queen Saralyn raised an eyebrow, smiling faintly. "Remarkable, yes," she said. "But remember, human, your words must carry thought as well as meaning. Even praise may be understood differently here. You must learn to listen, to feel the weight of words as we do." Aidan felt a twinge of frustration at himself. He was intelligent, capable, and observant, but here, his knowledge felt superficial. Every step forward seemed to reveal a new layer of complexity. Yet, he also felt excitement. This was a challenge unlike any he had faced on Earth. Success here would mean understanding a civilization far older and wiser than his own. By midday, the humans were taken to the Council of Unity, where representatives from all major Lytheran regions discussed matters of planetary governance. The humans were observers, but Queen Saralyn asked Aiden to share human perspectives on diplomacy and conflict resolution. Aiden spoke carefully. On Earth, we have learned that cooperation often comes from understanding others' needs and values. We rely on dialogue, compromise, and sometimes creative solutions that blend different ideas. The Lytherans listened intently, their bioluminescent patterns shifting slowly as they absorbed his words. One of the elder council members leaned forward. Your approach is different. It lacks centuries of precedent, yet it carries flexibility. That is intriguing. 1. Queen Saralyn nodded. Humans are unpredictable, yet capable of insight. That unpredictability is not weakness, it is a potential strength. But you must continue to observe, learn, and adapt. A sudden alert interrupted the session. A holographic display appeared, showing a neighboring planet sending communications that hinted at tension over shared resource zones. Aiden recognized the signs. Misunderstanding could quickly escalate into conflict. Commander Hart, Queen Saralyn said, her tone serious now. This is an opportunity. Lythera values diplomacy, but you have the creativity to contribute. Work with our council to resolve this before it becomes a larger problem. The humans were led to a quiet chamber, where they collaborated with Lytheran diplomats to draft a response. Aiden quickly analyzed the situation, considering the rival planet's motives, resources, and potential fears. He suggested solutions that balanced human pragmatism with Lytheran respect for tradition. Hours passed as the humans and Lytherans worked side by side. Ethan's scientific knowledge helped clarify technical misunderstandings, while Mira's logical thinking contributed to fair compromises. Aiden's role was to mediate, ensuring that neither side felt ignored. By evening, a consensus was reached. The rival planet's concerns were addressed respectfully, while Lythera's sovereignty was maintained. The humans had played a key role in preventing conflict, a feat that impressed even Queen Saralyn. That night, the humans gathered in their quarters. We actually did it, Mira said quietly, still in disbelief. We helped prevent a potential war. Aiden nodded, exhausted but satisfied. It's not just about preventing conflict. It's about showing that humans can understand, respect, and contribute meaningfully to another civilization. That's what the Queen sees in us, potential beyond what we often believe in ourselves. Ethan leaned back, gazing out at the city lights. I never thought diplomacy could feel creative. It's like solving a puzzle, but the pieces are emotions, culture, and history. Aiden smiled. Exactly. And the puzzle is only getting more complex. Tomorrow, we'll learn more about their social customs, and we'll see just how much more there is to understand. As they rested, Aiden reflected on the journey so far. Humans had made mistakes, but they had also shown resilience, curiosity, and ingenuity. The Queen had already seen qualities in them that many other species might overlook, qualities that could help humanity earn respect among the stars. Lythera itself seemed to recognize their efforts. The city's soft glow felt warmer, as if acknowledging their progress. The humans had taken their first real steps toward integration with a civilization far older and wiser than themselves. Aiden lay awake that night, thinking of the words Queen Saralyn had said. Observe carefully, learn, and act with humility. He realized that this was more than advice. It was a challenge. Humans were explorers by nature, but to truly succeed here, they needed not only intelligence and courage, but patience, empathy, and respect for the intricate patterns of another culture. He smiled quietly to himself, thinking about the future. Missteps were inevitable, but so were discoveries. Each mistake would teach them. Each success would earn their place. And through it all, humanity would continue to shine, not through domination or power, but through curiosity, adaptability, and heart. As sleep finally claimed him, Aiden felt a quiet pride. Lythera was teaching them something vital, that humans could rise to meet challenges far greater than themselves, and in doing so, prove that the species was worthy of a place among the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Tomorrow would bring more lessons, more challenges, and more opportunities to demonstrate the human spirit in a way the stars had never seen before, and Aiden knew they were ready for it. The morning sun on Lythera painted the city of Aurealis in soft shades of gold and green, reflecting off the crystalline structures that lined the streets. Commander Aiden Hart stood on the balcony of the delegation quarters, watching as the Lytherans moved with their usual elegance, their bioluminescent patterns shifting gently with every gesture and emotion. Today was to be a more active day for the humans, a chance to participate directly in Lytheran life and demonstrate their value beyond diplomacy. Lieutenant Mira Solis joined him, carrying a tablet filled with notes from the previous day. Aiden, the Council of Unity was impressed. Your suggestions prevented a possible dispute. I think we've finally earned a little trust. Aiden smiled but remained cautious. Trust is earned slowly, Mira. Today, we'll show that humans can contribute in other ways. Observation alone isn't enough. We must act, learn, and adapt. Their first activity was to join a Lytheran cultural integration exercise, a complex task that involved coordinating energy streams to maintain the balance of a floating garden. The garden floated high above the city, tethered to energy nodes that responded to the movements and focus of those who controlled them. Lytheran guides explained that the exercise was both a test of skill and a demonstration of harmony. One misstep could disrupt the delicate balance of the garden. Humans had never worked with energy in this way. Ethan Vargas extended his hands, attempting to control a small energy stream. It flickered and fizzled before responding partially to his intent. Mira stepped forward next, her gestures more deliberate, and gradually a stream of green light flowed between her hands, intertwining with the streams of others. Aiden took a deep breath and followed. At first, the energy refused to respond fully. But then he remembered the Queen's words. Observe. Learn. Act with humility. Instead of forcing control, he focused on understanding the flow, adjusting his movements in subtle harmony with the other participants. Slowly, the energy responded, creating patterns that were symmetrical, graceful, and stable. The Lytheran guides watched closely, their glowing patterns brightening with delight. Queen Saralyn herself had come to observe, her radiant presence commanding attention without effort. She smiled slightly as she watched the humans gradually succeed. You see, humans, she said softly, your strength is not in immediate mastery, but in adaptability and persistence. You learn quickly when you pay attention. And that is a rare gift. Aiden felt a surge of pride. This was the first time he truly understood that humanity's greatest strength might not be in advanced technology alone, but in the ability to observe, adapt, and persist where others might fail. After the exercise, the delegation was invited to the Lytheran Archives, a vast library of history, science, and culture. The humans marveled at the intricate holographic displays that recorded centuries of Lytheran knowledge. Each scroll and crystal projection shimmered with information, detailing not only achievements but also lessons learned from past mistakes and conflicts. While exploring the archives, Aiden stumbled upon a section dedicated to interplanetary diplomacy. Lythera had records of countless negotiations, alliances, and conflicts. He realized how much care went into understanding not just the facts of a situation, but the emotions, values, and traditions of every species involved. Humans often relied on negotiation strategies, but Lytherans had elevated it to an art form. Ethan, flipping through a projection of energy experiments, remarked, "They've preserved everything: knowledge, culture, even etiquette. There's nothing left to chance here. Everything is deliberate." "Exactly," Aiden said. "And that's why we must show that humans can think deliberately as well, not just react instinctively." The humans spent the afternoon attending a council simulation, a role-play designed to teach them about Lytheran decision-making. Each participant was assigned a scenario involving a dispute between regions over resources, and the goal was to reach a fair resolution that maintained harmony. At first, the humans struggled. Their instinct was to act quickly, to find solutions based on efficiency. But the Lytheran approach required patience, empathy, and a deep understanding of unspoken cultural rules. Aiden realized that they could not simply use human logic, they had to combine it with Lytheran values. Slowly, the humans began to improve. Mira suggested a compromise that incorporated both efficiency and tradition, while Ethan provided a technical solution that addressed practical concerns without offending cultural norms. Aiden guided the discussion, balancing ideas and mediating disagreements. Queen Saralyn observed quietly, her glowing patterns pulsing gently as the humans demonstrated creativity and respect. By the end of the simulation, the humans had reached a solution that impressed even the most skeptical Lytherans. The council members nodded appreciatively, their bioluminescence brightening in approval. "You are learning," Queen Saralyn said, stepping forward. "Not all humans would succeed. Many rely only on instinct or technology. But you observe, adapt, and combine your knowledge with understanding. That is why you are valuable." The humans felt a deep sense of accomplishment. This was more than recognition, it was proof that they could contribute meaningfully to a civilization far older and wiser than their own. Aiden knew that this was the first step toward earning true respect and partnership. Later, the humans were invited to a private audience with the Queen. She spoke directly to Aiden, her tone warm but serious. "Human, your people are not yet perfect. You make mistakes, misunderstand, and sometimes act impulsively. But what I see in you is potential. Potential to not only survive among the stars but to shine." Aiden listened intently, feeling the weight of her words. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We will continue to learn and earn your trust." Saralyn smiled, a glimmer of humor in her eyes. "And perhaps one day, you will speak Lytheran words without causing unintended proposals." Aiden laughed quietly, recalling his first embarrassing mistake. It was a reminder that growth often came from humility and learning, not just skill or intelligence. That evening, the humans were shown the ceremony of reflection, a cultural ritual that honored the planet's history, achievements, and partnerships with other civilizations. The ceremony involved synchronized movements, glowing symbols, and storytelling through both gestures and light. Humans were observers, but the Queen allowed them to participate minimally, weaving small energy patterns into the display. Though small, the human contributions were significant. Their patterns, though imperfect, blended surprisingly well with the Lytheran forms. Queen Saralyn's gaze lingered on Aiden as he guided his team with care and attention. She saw not only competence, but humility and cooperation, the qualities she valued most. As the ceremony concluded, the humans were praised for their efforts. "You have learned well," Saralyn said. "More importantly, you have shown respect and the desire to grow. That is what earns trust across worlds." Back in their quarters, Aiden reflected on the day's events. Humans had achieved small victories, yes, but more importantly, they had demonstrated qualities that technology could not replicate: adaptability, patience, empathy, and creativity. These were the traits that could allow humanity to not just survive among advanced civilizations, but to thrive and contribute meaningfully. Mira broke the thoughtful silence. "Aiden, I never imagined we could adapt this quickly. Lytherans are so precise. Yet, somehow, we're finding our way." Aiden nodded. "It's not just about finding our way. It's about proving that humans belong here. Every mistake, every effort to understand, is shaping our place in this galaxy. We're not just visitors, we're potential partners." Ethan leaned against the window, gazing at the city below. "And tomorrow will bring more challenges. If we can handle today, I think we can handle almost anything." Aiden smiled faintly. "Yes. But we must remain humble. Lythera is teaching us that the universe values more than strength and speed. It values wisdom, understanding, and the ability to adapt. That is what makes a species worthy of respect. As the night deepened, the humans looked out at the glowing city, its streets alive with movement and energy. The stars above sparkled like distant gems, reminding them of the vastness of the universe and the responsibility that came with their presence here. For Aiden, the lesson of the day was clear. Humans could achieve greatness not by imitating others, but by combining their unique qualities with careful observation, empathy, and humility. Every step they took, every lesson they learned, was preparing them for the greater challenges that lay ahead. And as sleep finally claimed him, he felt a quiet determination. Humanity's place among the stars would not be won through force or speed, but through heart, courage, and the willingness to grow and learn from others. That was the true essence of the human spirit, and the reason why Lythera, and perhaps the galaxy itself, would one day recognize it. The city of Orielis glowed under the gentle light of Lythera's twin moons. The floating gardens reflected the silver and lavender hues across the streets, giving the entire city an ethereal appearance. Commander Aiden Hart stood at the edge of one of the platforms, gazing at the city below. The humans had spent days learning, observing, and participating in Lytheran life, and now they were on the verge of their final test, a chance to truly demonstrate humanity's worth to this advanced civilization. "Are you ready for this?" Mira asked, joining him. Her bioluminescence pulsed faintly, a sign of her excitement. Aiden took a deep breath. "We've learned a lot. Now it's time to show them that humans can contribute in a meaningful way, not just follow instructions, but think, adapt, and cooperate with the Lytherans as equals." The humans were escorted to the council hall, a massive chamber where decisions affecting the planet and its alliances were made. Today, a rare and significant event was taking place. Lythera was hosting a delegation from multiple nearby planets, some of whom had shown tension in past negotiations. Queen Saralyn had requested that the human delegation assist in mediating these discussions. The chamber was filled with representatives from various civilizations, each humanoid or otherwise, adorned with unique clothing and bioluminescent patterns. The air was thick with anticipation. Humans were seated at the center, a symbolic gesture showing that they were now trusted to participate in discussions at the highest level. Aiden took a deep breath. "Remember what we learned," he whispered to Mira and Ethan. "Observe carefully, speak thoughtfully, and act with respect. We've earned this opportunity, and we must not waste it." The negotiations began with the representatives presenting their positions. There were disputes over shared energy resources, disagreements about planetary boundaries, and competing claims regarding trade routes. Humans could feel the tension in the room, but they also recognized an opportunity to demonstrate humanity's strengths, adaptability, empathy, and creative problem-solving. Aiden spoke first, addressing the assembly. "We come not just as visitors, but as partners willing to listen and find solutions that respect all parties involved," he said. He outlined suggestions based on human logic, but he also incorporated what they had learned from Lytheran culture, acknowledging tradition, showing respect for emotions, and valuing harmony. Mira and Ethan followed, each adding insights from their respective expertise. Mira emphasized fairness and compromise, while Ethan provided technical clarifications that resolved several misunderstandings about resource use. The Lytherans nodded approvingly, their bioluminescence brightening in subtle recognition of the humans' contributions. As discussions progressed, a difficult moment arose. One representative accused another of deliberately violating trade agreements, and voices began to rise. The room's energy shifted, and tension became almost tangible. Aiden stepped forward calmly, raising his hands in a gesture of peace he had learned from observing Lytheran customs. "Please," he said steadily, "let us not act on anger or assumption. We can understand each concern and find a solution that respects all parties. Conflict will benefit no one." The room fell silent. Humans had no authority here, yet their words carried weight because of the sincerity and clarity behind them. Slowly, representatives began to speak again. this time with measured tones. Aiden guided the conversation carefully, balancing competing needs and ensuring every perspective was acknowledged. Hours passed, and gradually, a consensus emerged. The disputes were resolved with compromises that honored Lytheran traditions, respected the other civilizations, and incorporated practical solutions from human reasoning. Queen Saralyn watched closely, her expression unreadable but her glowing patterns indicating approval. Finally, the negotiations concluded successfully. Representatives shook hands, their bioluminescence softening into calm tones. A sign that trust and understanding had been restored. Aiden felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Humans had not only participated, they had helped bring peace. Queen Saralyn rose, her presence commanding attention effortlessly. "Humans," she said, her voice carrying clearly across the chamber. "You have demonstrated qualities that many civilizations take centuries to develop. Your creativity, adaptability, and willingness to understand others have earned our respect." Aiden bowed respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We are honored to serve as partners and friends." Saralyn's eyes softened. "More than honored. You have shown that humans are capable of great insight, compassion, and courage. These are the qualities that allow any species to thrive among the stars." After the formalities, the humans were invited to a private garden terrace, overlooking the city. Queen Saralyn joined them, her bioluminescence glowing gently in the moonlight. "Aiden," she said, smiling faintly, "do you remember the words you spoke on your first day here? The ones that carried a meaning you did not intend?" Aiden laughed softly, recalling his embarrassing mistake. "Yes, Your Majesty, I will never forget." "Sense of one." She tilted her head, her glow pulsing softly. "It was a small mistake. Yet it marked the beginning of your journey here. You learned humility, patience, and respect. Those words, though unintended, remind us that growth comes from understanding, not perfection." Aiden felt a deep sense of gratitude. Lythra had not only tested them but had also nurtured their growth. Humans had arrived as strangers, but they were leaving as respected participants in a civilization far older and wiser than their own. Saralyn continued, "You and your people have shown that humanity's greatest strength is not in technology or force, but in heart, courage, and the willingness to learn. Those qualities are rare, and they are powerful. Remember them, for they will guide your species among the stars." The humans stayed on the terrace, talking quietly as the city below shimmered in soft light. They reflected on everything they had learned, the intricate ways of communication, the subtle art of negotiation, the importance of empathy and observation. Each lesson had been challenging, yet rewarding, shaping their understanding of what it truly meant to be valued among other civilizations. Later, the Queen offered the humans a symbolic honor, a Lythran emblem of partnership, representing trust, respect, and recognition of humanity's contribution. It was not just a token, it was an invitation to return as official ambassadors, a permanent link between Earth and Lythra. Aiden accepted the honor with humility. "We will carry this with pride," he said, "and we will continue to learn and grow, so that humanity may deserve the trust you have shown us." As the humans prepared to depart, the Queen's parting words echoed in Aiden's mind. "You are capable of greatness, not because you are strong, but because you are willing to understand, to adapt, and to act with integrity. That is what makes humans extraordinary." The Odyssey lifted from the platform and ascended into the stars. Aiden stood at the observation deck, looking back at Lythra, its floating gardens and glowing spires slowly fading into the distance. Humanity had arrived with curiosity and left with respect and friendship. The experience had taught them that their true power lay in their heart, creativity, and courage, qualities that no technology could replicate. Mira joined him, her expression thoughtful. "Do you think we can maintain this? The lessons, the respect?" Aiden smiled. "We have to. Humanity has proven it can rise to challenges far greater than itself. Lythera showed us that strength isn't just what you build. It's who you are, and how you treat others." If we carry that forward, we can face anything. Ethan, looking out at the stars, added quietly. And this is only the beginning. There are so many worlds out there, and so much to learn. But now we know we are capable of meeting them as equals, not just as strangers. Aiden nodded, feeling a quiet pride. Humans had taken their first real steps into a larger universe, not through conquest or force, but through understanding, courage, and the willingness to grow. Lythera had recognized their potential, and in doing so, humanity had discovered a new part of itself, the part that could rise above mistakes, adapt, and shine even among the stars. As the Odyssey sailed through the galaxy, Aiden gazed at the distant constellations, imagining the many civilizations humanity would one day meet. He thought of Queen Ceraline's smile, the glowing streets of Aurealis, and the lessons learned from a culture both advanced and wise. He knew that humanity's journey was only beginning, but now they carried the knowledge, the humility, and the courage to face whatever the universe might offer. In the quiet hum of the ship, Aiden reflected on the first words he had spoken on Lythera, the ones that had unintentionally carried the weight of a promise. They had been a mistake, yes, but one that had taught him and his people far more than any textbook or simulation ever could. Growth, understanding, and respect, these were the true markers of strength. And humanity had proven it could embody all three. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of potential and mystery, and somewhere among those countless worlds, the light of human spirit shone brightly, ready to be recognized, respected, and celebrated. Humanity had arrived not just as explorers, but as beings capable of greatness, a species worthy of trust, friendship, and admiration across the galaxy. For Aiden and his crew, and for all of humanity, Lythera would always remain the place where they first realized what it truly meant to shine.